if we're starting to float Timofey as better at 4x4 than
Timofey beat him.
Tymon, I
Timofey
don't
beat
even.
him at Worlds. Timofey beat him
Oh,
at Worlds.
okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Plus 3, the bozo singularity of the internet. I'm Matt Rosman, joined by John Epley and Manu Singhal. Gentlemen, how are you doing? How cooked are we? It's a cooked night tonight. Look, get things started here. Tymon Kolasinski, 4x4 world record. Absolutely stunning. Just to ask this here, are we in the position now to say, and John, I'll start with you, that Tymon is the best 4x4 solver in the world now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it hurts my heart to say it, but yes, Tymon is the best 4x4 solver in the world right now if you look at his results. But I don't think we're ready to say he is the greatest 4x4 solver of all time, because we still have to remember there is someone who has broken the 4x world record tens of times and has been world champion twice and is the current reigning champion, Sebastian Weyer. Sebastian was first world champion in 2017, and he got a 24.15 average back in 2017. Won this year with a 20.29. And he also got a second place back in 2013 with a 32.92, believe it or not. So he has been on the world championship podium for 12 years for 4x4, really a 4x4 specialist. And if you watch his average in World's Finals, you'll see what set him apart and what really made him win was some 4x4 specific knowledge. He had 4x4 specific parity / PLL algorithms that saves him. It's got to be at least half a second. I couldn't, you're going to have to ask him to know his splits, but I mean, those specializations I think are what make a world champion and make someone the greatest of all time. And so yes, Tymon is the best, but he's not the greatest of all time.
Interesting. I think that it's actually pretty hard to tell whether or not Tymon is the best 4x4 solver right now. I think that's even up for debate. Of course, Tymon recently getting the first sub 19-second average, 1888, as you see here, and also podiumed not just this year at Worlds, but he was actually the world champion in 2023. So clearly he's like no stranger to this type of amazing accomplishments in the 4x4 category. But I feel like there's just a lot of other people in the mix. Of course, Sebastian, as you just mentioned, he's the current world champion. But let's not forget Max Park. Max missed the podium at Worlds. Kind of odd for him. I mean, he was the first seed going into finals. And of course, he's just an amazing solver all around, really pushing the level of big cubes way beyond what everyone had even thought was possible back in his day. And people are now catching up to him, right? Not to mention you have Leo, who's also hanging around. Don't forget about Maddie as well. I think there's a lot of people into this mix. And while I think Tymon is exceptionally good, I think it's a little hard to say that he's the best of the best right now.
I think I'm going to agree more with John in this scenario. I think Tymon, like pound for pound, in terms of just raw ability, he's the best in the world right now. I'd say there's a little bit of an asterisk, obviously, with not getting the title. Obviously, some days you just get, beat. You just, have a worse day than somebody else. And I think that was the case with Tymon at Worlds. But I think that if we're just looking at the sheer ability and the sheer consistency with which Tymon is continuing to dismantle what can be done in the 4x4 solving universe, I think he's the best in the world right now. Again, I agree with you, Manu, that yes, there is a crowded field. You have Max, you have Sebastian, you have Maddie, but I think none of those guys have displayed recently the same consistent excellence that Tymon has had, especially with this new world record as well. I think all Tymon really needed to, kind of end the debate was if he got a world title. So we'll have to wait till 2027 to see if he can accomplish it then. But I think he's the best in the world right now.
I don't know. I think 2027, even then, is kind of tough. I mean, you could make an argument that Tymon isn't the best in Europe to Sebastian. You could argue he's in even second place because, Timofey also beat him at Worlds, right? Like Timofey, on his first world championship made it up there. Another thing
Stop
to
it. No, no,
argue.
no, 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 no.
Another thing to
No,
argue
stop
against
stop
Timon
it right
is,
now. No, 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 no. I don't want
oh
to
my
hear.
goodness,
I
he's
don't
not
want
even
to
gonna
hear
let me
Tim
continue.
saying if we're starting to float Timofey as better at 4x4 than
Timothy beat him.
Tamino. I
Timothy
don't
beat
even.
him at Worlds. Timothy beat him
Oh,
at Worlds.
okay. Look, but he
Timothy
still
beat him
didn't
at
win
Worlds.
Worlds. The only reason we're
Timothy
talking
did seem
about
to have kind of
Worlds
a
is
fluke
because
average.
Look,
I would say Timothy
all
did kind of have a fluke average at Worlds, but also I think we want to. What was really cool to highlight is that Tymon had his moment in 5x5, and that was the event that he really probably cared about the most. Sebastian, he only cares about 4x4. A moment that I thought was really cool back in 2019, I got to spend some time with the Vire brothers. I was in at World Championships and kind of got to hang out with them throughout the weekend. I remember asking Philip, like, who do you think is going to win? And every time I asked him, like, me, like, what are you talking about? And I remember being like, okay, but like, if it's not you, then like, who is it? And he's like, it's gonna be me. Like he manifested it so thoroughly, and he went out and he won 3x3. And I think his brother is very much in the same mindset. He's like, I'm going to win. Like people might count me out, but I'm counting myself in. So I think that was his big edge there, and why he is the world champion. It was really cool to see that happen, and he freaking did it, right? Everyone was so excited when he did win that 4x4 title. So sorry, I needed to break the drama there.
there's two more points I want to make before we wrap this up. One is, yes, Timon got the world record. He had 2 out of 10 parodies. Okay, so keep that in mind. If someone else gets 2 out of 10 or something even better than that, so there, we could see another world record on the cards. The second thing, actually in favor of Timon being the best, is his ability to look at ZBLL with PLL parody is ridiculous. It's so difficult, and he's an expert at that. So you could argue that that's one reason why he is the best.
Hey guys, I'm Dylan Miller. I'm a 3x3 Worlds finalist and a top 5 solver in the US. If you want to get coached by me, go to solvewithdylan.com. Doesn't matter your speed, that's solvewithdylan.com. Appreciate it.
PSL Seattle. The big storyline going into this is Dilly Millie. Is it going to be time? Is it Dylan's time to win PSL Seattle? John, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Man, if I'm playing odds maker on this, yes, this is Dylan's time to win, but it's not going to be easy for him. So, like, let's take a couple looks at who he's going to be facing. So, Grayson James had 3 PRs since June, sub 7 for all of them. So, maybe not someone that everyone is going to think has a chance, but he had one of those sub 7s at World. So, he clearly is able to perform under pressure. So, Grayson James is a sleeper pick, but Samir Agrawal, 2-time world champion of Square One, current average world record holder for Square One, has a 5.56 average in a WCA competition, but over 47 averages in 2025, he averages out to 698. So that 5.56 is far from what he's used to. Morgan Ye has a 5.72 WCA PR. His last 24 averages have come out to 675. That's all of his averages for 2025. And then we got Dilly Millie. His last 48 averages, all of in 2025, came out to 614. So we have a 614 for Dilly Millie, 675 for Morgan Ye, 698 for Samir. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really Dylan's to take. He's just got to not lose it. But let's not count out these other guys because, I mean, it's anyone's given. On any day, anyone could take it, especially with the format of PSL.
Yeah, for me, this is a kind of a little bit of a tough one to call because both Dilly and Morgan are some of my favorite speed cubers, especially in North America. And, having watched Canadian Championship, right there, I was there when Morgan had won the Canadian Championships and he broke down. He's been doing quite well so far, especially as of recently. Canadian Championship, a big milestone for him. But I agree. I think this one is basically Dylan's take. And I don't know if you all are keeping track with like his streams and stuff, but he's had some really good results sitting at home recently. He had some pretty decent results in Monkey League. Of course, the Monkey League is extremely competitive, right? So he kind of has like the wind at his back a little bit going into the California arc, kind of like revamping some stuff of his solving style, but he's looking really good right now. I think this is his best. And yeah, I mean, I got nothing else. I'm rooting for him all the way in this one.
I believe in this man so much to finally take it. He has come so close multiple times now to being a winner, to being a champion. I think he's thinking about every PSL that he's been at. He's thinking about every event, and he's like, man, I got to make it worth it. I got to, this is an investment. I'm putting my money on the line, traveling to places to try and make out with the W. Okay? He's going to get it this time. I have no doubt in my mind. Dylan has been there enough times. He's gone up against super stiff competition. I think this time the competition is just slightly less stiff, and I think it's going to allow Dylan to squeeze on through and be able to take the W in Seattle. I mean, again, there are still Samir, Morgan, obviously. I wouldn't be surprised if either of them won, but I think this is Dylan Miller's contest to lose. And I think it's, I don't know. I think he's got the W pretty well secured, as long as he keeps his cool.
Yeah, Dilly Dubs, October 12th, bro.
Yeah, October in Seattle. The other thing I think, which is going to be really interesting, is it's going to be a little bit of a foreshadowing as to what we might see out of Dylan Miller at U.S. Nationals, which is going to be, I think, like 2 to 3 weeks immediately after that. And that, I think, Dilly is really, really, really gunning for, because he has a very good chance to just very seriously contend for a nationals podium, which would be, I think, for him, probably one of the biggest accomplishments he's gotten. I mean, of course, getting second U.S. at Worlds, it was already pretty good. But having like that full national title level performance, I think, is still missing from the resume. So I can watch out for that. If he really, really pops off, we get some real fireworks come November 1st weekend.
I think, I'll agree with you in terms of nationals being the main thing, right? Because it's WCA, it's obviously still bigger than PSL right now. And I think he's definitely, like you're saying, Manu, he's definitely gunning for that. I think what he's going to use this for is like, okay, I've done all this work. I'm getting myself ready for Nats. Let's see how this goes here. I think if he can, I just want to throw out that maybe if he takes this PSL victory, I think he's going to take the outcome of PSL at some level, probably not a lot, but he's going to take that outcome into Nats. I think, like, at some level, his performance in Nats is going to be influenced by how he does at PSL here in Seattle. I just think, I don't want to say anything too crazy, but it's like, you get the idea that, if he can't win it in PSL, how's that going to turn out for him at Nats? Will that be playing back in his mind as he goes to face like, Luke Garrett and Luke Greiser, and Maddie and all these guys, Want to take a quick look as well at our highlight of the week. We haven't talked about him enough, I think, recently. I think we have to have a mandated amount of times that we mentioned Yiheng on this channel. We've got the 2x2, the ASR 2x2 record. Manu, John, break this down. Break it down.
Yeah, so it's a 5-mover by Yiheng. This is the ASR single. He actually missed the world record by a couple hundredths of a second. You can see right there, just incredibly fast. And that's why he's reacting like that, sub 0.5. Yeah, he just missed the world record by a very, very small amount. 5-mover is, I think, pretty rare on 2x2. They don't show up that often. Of course, when you go to a competition as Yiheng does, you expect to see a couple of them here or there. This one actually in Hong Kong too, which is why I was on WCA Live and whatnot. So close, but no cigar for Yiheng.
And he wants that 2x2 WR so bad, you can see it in his face right there, right? But like Manu said, it was a 5-mover. If you go by the standard turning metric, if you go by quarter turn metric, it was 6 moves because he did need to do a U2 in his 5 moves. Theodore did not, so his 4 moves were a little bit more straightforward. So debatably, this if he had gotten a 4-mover that was a little bit more straightforward, I think he could smash this record. So given the right scramble, I think this proves that Yiheng will break that single world record. It's just a game of chance until he gets a scramble that is 4 moves, he recognizes it, and he executes it.
Yeah, I wonder to what extent. Actually, sorry, I cut Ross off. Go ahead, Ross.
No,
Do you have anything to add? Okay.
you,
I wonder to what extent it also depends on the fact that, like, because this was in Hong Kong, and I don't know if they do things differently, but I know in China things are a little bit different where once someone gets like a good result, they will stop using that scramble set. They don't have like groups, at least in like the same way as we do in the West. So I mean, good job here. Hopefully you can get a couple more good solves coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time. Look, Yiheng is coming up. So, sorry, I just see the
He's gonna put it up.
image.
Yeah, he's gonna
Why, why,
put it up, isn't he?
why are we
Is
putting
this the
this up?
signifier of our collapse? Is the moment he put the Tigers jersey on, the moment the Tigers started to tank?
Oh,
I don't I don't think so because they were collapsing before. Anyway, John, Manu, do you guys have anything else you want to add? You know, besides obviously PSL and Nats coming up.
No, dude, never forget those events. I'm excited for them. I'm going to be at both, and we're going to see high level solvers at both. And I think PSL is going to be a nice little warm up to Nats, as you were alluding to earlier, because Nats is going to be a much more head to head format. And catch them both on Speed Cubing TV. Both Premier Speed Cubing Leave and upcoming Nats are going to be live on Speed Cubing TV.
yeah. For me, it'll be fun to get back into the commentary booth. I've taken like long break since Worlds, which was just incredible. So looking forward to get my chops back in, and it's gonna be fun. Gonna be lots of top solvers everywhere. It's gonna be just drama.
Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Tell us, do you think it's Dylan's time? Do you think it's Dylan's time? Will it ever be Dylan's time? Let us know. Let us know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching Plus 3, and we'll see you next time.